Make your next move with American Express Business Platinum. You'll get 5 times membership rewards points on flights and prepaid hotels booked on AmexTravel.com. Plus, enjoy access to the American Express Global Lounge Collection. And with the welcome offer of 150,000 points, your business can soar to all new heights. Terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/business-platinum. Amex Business Platinum. Built for business by American Express.
Kroger Delivery has one mission: to deliver the freshest food right to your door. That's why our drivers are pros. Our trucks are refrigerated. And when it comes to low prices, we always deliver. With $20 off your first order of $75 or more, there's no better time to get in on the action. Mission accomplished. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
The name makes it sound like it's more of a chick flick than it actually is. It makes it difficult to recommend to some people because they will just assume, oh, that's a girl's film, that's a girly film about love and romance and weddings and blah, blah, blah. Which it really isn't. People shit themselves on it. I thought it was funny. Like, look, does it deserve an Oscar? No, but did I enjoy watching it? Yeah.
I don't know. I would have liked to see them let loose a bit more. Maybe not have it be centered around a woman with, cliche sort of jealousy issues. And it's just a little bit too... like a man wrote a film about what he thinks women give a shit about. And that's what I think also bothered me.
Hello, film fans. Joining Flixwatcher today, we have Dee.
Hello.
Randa.
Hi.
And Kobe.
Hello.
And we're here to talk about Bridesmaids. Thank you, as always, to the mighty people for the mighty, mighty tunes. And thanks to Ben from Rockwood Audio for his awesome editing skills.
Please do remember to write a review and rate us on Apple Podcasts and anywhere you can do where you listen to the podcast, because it really does help us.
And you can join in the conversation with us on Twitter
at FlixWatcherPod and on Instagram
at Flixwatcher. Hello, film fans. Welcome to Flixwatcher Podcast. Our guests today are Randa and Dee. Over to you, please, Randa, to say hello to our listeners and tell them a little bit more about who you are, please.
Hi. So me and my sister Dee, we co-host the Switchblade Sisters Social Club true crime podcast. And you can find us over on Instagram and Facebook. And we exploit our worst fears for your entertainment.
You're welcome. And what's that? Kobe and Helen, you want to have a Switchblade Sisters Social Club mug? Well, there's one wigging its way over to both of you if you trust me with your address, which some people don't, and I get it. I'm a bit stalkery.
I've got a P.O. box.
Yes.
I've got a P.O. box.
Yes, I hear that a lot. I've got a P.O. box.
Yeah.
You've got merch as well. I think if you've got merch, then you've you're in the game with the merch.
Do you know what? I was like, business cards or stickers? And I went with stickers for like a bunch of conferences and so forth. And I think it was the way forward. No one cares about business cards. They all want stickers. Stickers.
Yeah, I found your sticker a couple of days ago. So when I was cleaning out the kitchen table, I was like, all the people I met at a podcast show, which is where we met a couple of months ago.
Yeah, and where did you put your sticker?
It's just still on the table, unstuck. It's still on its backing.
Saving it for somewhere special. Somewhere special, yeah.
Saving it for
exactly.
Yeah.
So tell us a bit about your podcast.
We cover true crime cases. We pick ones that have impacted us in some way, that we either remember playing out in real time or just really sort of struck a chord in terms of the background, the social injustice that, I'm going to say it, all the cuts that the government is making in services, healthcare, education, all of these things that mean that people aren't getting the help that they need and therefore potentially sort of turn to crime, let's say. And also we love things like scientific developments, things that mean that people are caught years after the fact because of, like the Golden State Killer, who was caught because some distant relative of his had submitted some sort of 23andMe ancestor DNA test. And that means that a serial killer is caught. We love that shit. So that's what we like to cover. Yeah.
But also interestingly, I think It surprised us how we delved a lot into social, as you mentioned, social and political issues. We talk about, by popular demand, weirdly, we didn't expect it. We talk about our lives, at the start of the episodes and what's going on in our life. We talk about mental health. We talk about neurodivergence, autism. My kids are autistic. So these are themes that come up a lot. And we find them often woven into a lot of the cases that we talk about. So although when we started, it was a true crime podcast, it kind of develops into more.
Also, we're sisters, so we bicker on air. And people like that shit. I don't know why.
And you leave it in.
Yeah, I leave it in. Because normally I'm right. And I need everyone to know.
Yeah.
Well, we're here talking about films today. No crimes in this film. Well, there is. It's a police officer, so there's a few crimes. We're talking about Bridesmaids. So, Dee, that was your choice. Can you tell us, first of all, why you chose Bridesmaids? And then second of all, a synopsis in 60 seconds or less, and I'll get the timer up for that.
I'm wondering why you picked it too, Dee, to be fair.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
We're going to have some sister conflict. Yeah.
How did this happen? You're better than this, Dee. You're better than this.
I actually enjoyed this film. I don't know if you can tell, my sister did not. I picked it firstly because the first 20 that I wanted to pick, you've already covered.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
We wanted the craft. We wanted the craft.
We wanted the craft.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. We couldn't have the craft. So I don't know. I was just looking I was in the mood for some lighthearted comedy, to be honest. And I had seen this film before. I didn't remember it, but I remember enjoying it. So I thought, fuck it, why not? But yeah, you will hear our differing opinions in a moment, I suspect.
Feel like fuck it, why not should be an option. Like people can just pick, if we sort of say, why did you picked it? And it's like, oh, well, it's the fuck it, why not option.
There you go.
How we make our choices.
Your synopsis timer starts now.
So, Annie and Lillian are best mates. Lillian gets engaged and asks Annie to be her maid of honor, but the problem starts when Helen gets involved. Helen is the rich wife of Dougie's rich boss, and you can tell she's like bored housewife. And she has latched onto Lillian and tries to take over the wedding. She's really different to Annie, who, let's say very politely, is ditzy. She's a fucking mess. She's a hot mess. Hilarious scenes and drama follow, but eventually the wedding goes ahead, albeit in an extremely ridiculous fashion. Everyone lives happily ever after. Oh, and Annie hooks up with Chris O'Dowd from the IT crowd at the end.
Boom.
Some surreal casting in this, isn't there?
The casting is amazing.
Well, I'm quite interested to see what... I've never heard any dissent about this film before, so do we tee up Randa first, or do we talk about amongst ourselves before going to Randa?
The less I say, the better.
No, I want to say that not only will she be judging the film, but she will be judging all of us for liking this film when she does not. Yeah, that's happening right now.
It reminded me of a quote by Tina Fey where she said, you can tell how smart somebody is by what they laugh at. That's what this whole film reminded me of, that one quote by Tina Fey, who is funny.
Well,
she's funny.
I guess we're thick as shit because I thought it was funny. Like, look, does it deserve an Oscar? No, but did I enjoy watching it? Yeah.
Did you laugh out loud?
Not like, ha-ha, rolling around the floor laughter, but we know.
Did you laugh like Superbad?
No. I specifically put in my notes, it's no Superbad.
Okay.
But
I'm quite surprised that Tina Fey wasn't involved in this at all, because this has a lot of her hallmarks all over
Too
it.
good for it.
well, yeah, because there's a lot of...
She wouldn't touch it with a barge pole.
No, I thought it was funny. Like, perfect hangover on a Sunday movie, I thought.
Helen.
I've seen this a couple of times. I haven't seen it for a while, but I mean, I think it's funny.
We're all scared to speak now.
Awkward. You guys have your say. It's okay.
Is it?
It's your podcast.
In my notes, I've written cringe, laugh, cry. And I feel that kind of is the roller coaster of emotions on it. Watching it now, I think it maybe is a little bit long and a little bit flabby. It just really highlights how terrible a person Annie is. But it is funny. It's this kind of like weird neuroticness of being a woman in a weird friendship group and getting married, all kind of like mashed up in this one film that has Chris O'Dowd as the love interest, and Matt Lucas is in it, and Terry Crews is in it at the start, which is, you always forget he's in it. John Hamm's in it as well, being just really funny.
Rebel Wilson.
So, yeah.
Melissa McCarthy. I mean, the cast cast is fucking amazing.
Thinking from the office. So yeah, it's one of those films where you're watching it and like, I forgot they were in it. And then you're like, why are they in it? This is really surreal. And there are like some really, really funny bits. I'm sorry, but when they're all puking on each other is just really funny. And she takes a shit in the road. Yeah.
I laughed out at that bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because do you know why I find that funny? And I thought of you, Randa, because that is your worst fear, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Of being caught
It's a
short.
little bit too close to reality, I think, for it to be funny. Like, but there was one standout character for me in it. There was one who I thought was... Tell me who it was, Dee. You're nodding. And
I'm nodding because
who?
Melissa McCarthy.
Who was it? There was one... No. One person who's so discreet in the film that she deserved
Ellie Kemper.
to be... I don't know what her name is. I don't know what her name is,
Unbreakable Kimmy Smith, or the other one.
I don't know what you're saying. You're saying words that I don't
Tell us who they were in the film and we'll work it out.
I want to know if Dee can pick out who it was. It's somebody who had very little airtime, and I thought, that's the one that I find funny.
The mother from Goldberg's. Blonde.
I don't know what that is. Blonde. It's the mother who wants to get coke from a hairdresser. She was funny. She deserved way more airtime. She had good comedic timing and she was funny. But I think everyone has a different style of humor. And this is where it comes down to. Me and Dee have had this debate on several different episodes.
Let me take a poll here. In-betweeners, funny or not? In-betweeners.
Funny.
I can't vote because I've never watched it, so sorry.
Oh, because you're a former teacher too. See, I think it's fucking hilarious. My sister thinks that I'm an idiot for thinking it's funny.
Do you know what it is? And this is a compliment
I like
to you,
bus
Dee.
wankers as like an insult, but like,
Wankers is
wankers.
yeah.
It's a great insult. It's great.
Do you know why my bar for comedy is so high? And this is a compliment to you, Dee, because you are comedy gold. You are funnier than anything I've seen on TV. And if anyone listens to our podcast, especially the episode where Dee gets drunk, Dee's comedy is up here. Deanna's funny, so it's really hard when I watch something to find anything that even comes near to Dee's comedic genius, her delivery, the content of her humor, everything. So that's where I'm coming from. I gotta explain that.
Not like cock baby graffiti on Cake Baby. It's always funny.
I thought that was quite funny too. I thought that was quite funny too. Yeah. Well, thank you for that, Randa. I think you're hilarious also.
Thank you. Also, having been a secondary teacher, I've seen a lot. So, and I've had to keep a straight face through a lot. So I think that's why I find it harder to laugh, because it's gotta exceed those moments, So anyways, tell me what you guys think of the film. Sorry.
I think it's a great film. I think it suffers a lot from being 2 hours long. I don't think it needs to be that long. I think it's a standard thing with like Paul Feig films. I was just going through his filmography before.
Man needs an editor, doesn't he?
Prolific actor, such a prolific director, he's got The Heat, he's got Spy, he's got Ghostbusters. These are all kind of good films, but not like the best of the best. And I think this is probably my favourite film of his that he's done, but also I think it could have been tighter. I love that this is probably the first time I saw any of these actors in anything substantial, apart from Chris O'Dowd, because I used to love the IT crowd.
Oh, the IT crowd. Just perfection.
He was like, IT crowd's in an American film. And he's a love interest. This is interesting. I knew who Terry Crews was before, but Kristen Wiig, didn't really know who John Hamm was, didn't know anything about Megan, didn't know Ellie Kemper, didn't know Rudolph. And now a lot of these people are my favourite people in a film. So I really like to see that how they've started in this film, which got them a lot of traction, and then has really developed their careers into what they've done now. Yeah, even the Australian one. Yeah, Rose Byrne. Rebel Wilson, I can take or leave it. Sometimes I'm not that big a fan of Matt Lucas even.
George Dawes. That's what you're thinking, isn't it? Shooting stars.
I was thinking
What's
of
on
George
the
Dawes,
scores?
exactly.
Yeah.
In this. So I think those scenes with Rebel and Matt Lucas could have been taken out, and they just had some, and we just knew that she's having problems with her flatmates, and then she got kicked out, because I think it could have taken some time out.
One of my favorite lines of the film, I've written it verbatim here. It's Rebel's, one of her lines, when she gets busted for reading Annie's diary, and she says, "I didn't know it was your diary. I thought it was a very sad handwritten book."
Yeah, that was...
Come on, that's fucking funny. That's funny. And are we speaking about the cast now? Because I need to talk about John Hamm. Such a small role. I think I'm in love with him. Such a small role, but possibly the most relatable. I know he's a dick in the film, but possibly the most relatable because he had 2 lines, one at the beginning, one at the end. And I was like, I can hear myself say these lines and I definitely think them. And I can definitely hear my sister saying them. At the beginning, he says, I want you to leave, but I don't know how to say it without sounding like a dick.
I think that's a perfect line.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And then at the end, you know, they're in the car. He's joking about Annie's having a shit day, blah, blah, blah. And he's joking about her, like, giving him a blowjob while he's driving, blah, blah, blah. And she's obviously like, no, fuck no. And he says, it's called humor. Learn about it. And I can just hear that in my sister's voice. So,
Diana, I'm laughing more watching you retell the story. And it reminds me of like this one girl I used to watch on YouTube where she would summarize a film. So if you don't have time to watch films, she would summarize it for you in 10 minutes. And she was such a good storyteller.
We've got a spin-off season at the moment from our podcast because we cover true crime and it's really depressing. And sometimes at the end of the episode, we're like, what do we do now? Do we just say bye? Like, oh, and then they all die. Goodbye. So we're like, do we try to find, we've spent a whole season trying to figure out how to end an episode and questioning why the hell we're doing this in the first place to ourselves. And my sister's always like, why didn't we pick to do a podcast on Real Housewives? And I've always said, because I've never watched a single episode of Real Housewives. So our spin-off season is me watching Real Housewives while getting wasted. And because
Gogglebox style. These commentary.
Recent testimonial. Gogglebox on acid. Not acid, just alcohol. If anyone wants to send me acid for this, it might help. So, yeah, the alcohol was a personal choice, but I just couldn't do it sober. So, yeah, this is us. What is our life?
You're welcome.
I don't know.
Wonderfully chaotic. Sounds amazing.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the cast, guys? Helen?
Yeah, it's great. There's loads of people I like in it. I really like Rose Byrne in this because Helen is obviously the character that it's so easy to hate. And they're all just like, she's so beautiful. And she is beautiful. And then when she cries and they're like, oh, did I still look ugly? She's like, no, I looked okay. Yeah, I think she does a great job with that. But yeah, they're all great. Like, how often do you get to like see an entire film where it's just women on screen for 2 hours just doing whatever they want to do and being funny? The men in it are, apart from John Hamm, Lillian's husband is just extremely bland, which is a bit of a shame. You would have liked him to like been a hottie for her, but yeah, all the women are fabulous and men just barely feature. It's great.
Maya Rudolph is one of the most underrated actors of the moment, I think.
100%.
She's
Have you seen
fucking
The Good
hilarious.
Place?
Yes, she was amazing in there. She is amazing.
Yeah.
Her eating a burrito. Who would have thought that would be fucking hilarious? But she's so good. I love her in everything she's in. Grown Ups, Sisters, Wine County. She's so good. And Melissa McCarthy, every time I see her in something, I just like my esteem for her grows. And like today I was watching her answering questions while eating hot chilies. Shouldn't be funny, but it fucking is. So I recommend that.
The thing that annoys me most about Maya Rudolph is that, isn't she married to Paul Thomas Anderson?
Yes.
And he's not put her in any of it. Maybe he hasn't got that sense of humour.
Isn't she?
I guess.
She's got a cameo in Licorice Pizza, I think. I think she's definitely in one of them.
But she should be in his films. But yeah, that pairing seems like at odds to me. But that's the only thing I've got negative to say about her.
Maybe she's just too cool for his films, you know?
Yeah.
She doesn't want to do
like-
Yeah,
his
but
film.
she was in Grown Ups, Adam Sandler film.
I would have liked to see this film directed by a woman because I love that it had an all-female cast, and I would have liked to see them go wild a little bit more, just to ramp it up a little bit more. And I think the other thing that I'm a tough crowd when it comes to a film about a wedding because that doesn't hold my interest. And it bothers me, the assumption that all women are into weddings and dream about weddings, because that's just not the case. So anything that's wedding themed is going to struggle to hold my interest at all. And I would have loved that the theme not to be so cliched when it deals with women, because I just thought, I don't know, I would have liked to see them let loose a bit more, maybe not have it be centered around a woman with, cliched sort of jealousy issues. And it's just a little bit too, like a man wrote a film about what he thinks women give a shit about. And that's what I think also bothered me.
But it was written by Kristen Wiig and Annie Mumolo.
Oh, was it? Okay, I stand corrected. Kristen, come on, Kristen.
Yeah.
I have to say, we haven't talked about Kristen yet, but I was indifferent to her as an actress as well. And I will say that although she's like the main character, she's not the best one. She's kind of just the glue that the story revolves around. But everyone around her is much funnier as a character, I think. But I did love her in Whip It. I don't know if you guys have seen it.
Oh, is she in Whip It as well? I can't remember.
Yeah, she's Maggie Mayhem or something. But as a roller derbyist, is that the word? Yeah. I'm going to go for it. But
are you a roller? Do you roller derby?
I do.
Okay. Is it as brutal as Whip It makes out to be?
Yeah, but mainly because we are so shit that we just fall over each other all the time. And so I come home with like new bruises all the time. But yeah. And we always tease our instructor that we've been researching by watching the documentary Whip It, which drives her insane. She was really good in that. I like that. But maybe because she was like this in this film, not afraid to get ugly for it. But she was all right. But again, her character was not the funniest, not the most interesting. It was just kind of the reason why everyone else was in it who was funnier.
Don't miss out on the last few weeks of football action with Prize Picks, the best place to win cash while watching the playoffs. The app is simple. Pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Download the Prize Picks Daily Fantasy Sports app today and use code FIELD and get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code FIELD on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
Yeah, and also, like, Annie's a terrible person as well.
I think her kind of role is typically the lead in these kind of films because it lets Melissa McCarthy, Maya Rudolph do their thing really, really to a heightened level. She's got some really good gags, but I think the other cast are allowed to really run riot, which is perfect, I think. Is there anything else you want to say, guys, before we head to the scores?
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about some of the Paul Feig. First of all, how much does he look like Bill Gates? Because I Googled him.
I thought he was. But yeah.
Right? And like just looking at some of the things that he has kind of directed or produced or whatever, it's freaking amazing. And some of the things are so underappreciated that I want to give a shout out to them. Like Freaks and Geeks. I think it only had one season, but it was so good. It was so good.
Freaks and Geeks is awesome.
And it's got so many people that like Little Baby, Seth Rogen. No, not Seth Rogen. Who am I thinking of?
Yeah, Seth Rogen's in it. Seth Rogen's,
Elliot
Jason
Page,
Segel.
Before.
The guys that directed Dungeons and Dragons and Game Nights, they've come from there. Linda Cardellini.
Exactly. He did also
Busy
like
Phillips.
Arrested Development, some episodes of The Office, the American one, if you like that. I didn't. Anyway. And he did only one episode of Parks and Rec, but it's worth mentioning because it's the Pawnee Zoo episode. Do any of you watch?
Is that the one with the penguins?
The gay penguins. Yeah. Yes, it is, Kobe. And that episode is a beautiful one. It is one that I recommend to people if they want to get started because season 1 of Parks and Rec can take a bit of getting into. So Pawnee Zoo is the one that I tell people go and watch that one and then start from the beginnings. Yeah, just fantastic body of work, I think.
Yeah, like I say, I think it's Freaks and Geeks that set him on this track. I think some of his films, like Ghostbusters and Last Christmas, which isn't that good, aren't as good as his other ones. We've had A Simple Favor on here before, which I liked a lot more than I thought it would do. And he tends to like using the same people time and time again. So Melissa McCarthy's in there a few times. Henry Golding's in Simple Favor and also in Last Christmas, for example. And I like when directors do that. But I think we're still waiting for something that's really going to surprise us all with his work.
Take him to the next level. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Helen, I want to touch on something you said a couple of times. Annie is a dick. She's a nightmare friend, isn't she?
She's awful. Imagine if you had her come and ruin everything and then...
Everything about her. Making everything about her, you know? And it actually reminded me of Melissa McCarthy and her being in Gilmore Girls because I watched Gilmore Girls for the first time during lockdown. Have you guys watched it? I don't think my sister has.
No.
Right. So it's basically a mother and a daughter. When it first came out, people of our age would have been the daughter's age. And now we're kind of the mother's age. And I only watched it now recently. But apparently, like my friends who watched it when it first came out, when they were the daughter's age, they thought the mum was like such a cool mum, so cool and fun and blah, blah, blah. But when you watch it now as someone of the mother's age, you think, what a fucking shit mum. What a liability. How has she still got her kid? Like, how has her kid not been taken off of her? And I had the same thing rewatching Sex and the City. I remember watching it when it came out, being like, oh my God, look at these guys with their fabulous lifestyle, and Carrie's so cool, and blah, blah, blah. Watching it now, I'm like, Carrie is a narcissist, isn't she?
Self-absorbed. Yeah.
Like, can you imagine
Really
making... And same thing with this film, right? Can you imagine making one of your best friend's weddings all about you, your breakup with a guy, or the scene, I'm thinking of the bridal shower scene from Bridesmaids, where she like literally kicks off, is trashing the place like she's a 90s rock star.
Well, that's terrible, that scene, isn't it?
Could you ever be friends with someone after that? You couldn't, could you?
I think there's the stages where she can kind of say, look, guys, I've got no money and I'm the maid of honor. Can we try and work something out here? That's kind of the angle she could have gone on, but she went trashing the bridal shower and stuff. It was just like, you lose faith, you lose kind of sympathy for her. I thought the scene in the plane was quite funny when she's trying to get into first class and doing that. I thought that was quite
when she
funny,
basically got drugged. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I actually wrote a list of actresses that I thought would have made this film better.
Okay. Weird.
Can I tell you?
Have you ever had this before? Alternative suggestions? No. Right.
I went off-piste. But basically, when I was reading about the film, because I thought,
Poor Feig does listen to this, by the way. So, first of all, he's cringing at how we said his name.
Hi!
But he's also listening for Bridesmaids too.
I'm funny, apparently.
Very funny. So basically, when I was reading about this film, I read that apparently Kristen Wiig kicked off the Women Are Funny movement. And I was like, what? There is a long history of funny women way before 2010 when this film came out. So then I put together a list. So these are some women I thought would have been great in this film.
Wait, as Annie or in general?
Just throw them in. They would have made it better. Whatever part they would have played. So Jennifer Aniston, I think she's funny. Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah.
Goldie Hawn.
Yeah.
Brittany Murphy, R.I.P. Funny. Cameron Diaz, Bad Teacher was fucking hilarious. Bad Teacher was great. You loved it. You didn't like it? You didn't like it? Maybe it's because I was a teacher I found it funny. I thought she was great in that.
I still have nightmares of watching the scene where Justin Timberlake is dry
humping. Yeah.
I kind of forgot about him in it. I forgot about him in it. I thought she was good. I thought she was good.
This is a poor comparison.
Oh, you see, I actually thought she was funny in that.
I think she's funny. I think she definitely can be funny, but yeah, Bad Teachers is not the example.
It's interesting, isn't it? Comedy, it does divide people. It does divide opinion. It really, really does. I think more than any other genre, because there's no right or wrong answer and everyone has a different opinion on it. Alicia Silverstone in Clueless. No. Okay.
She's not
crowd.
Melissa McCarthy.
No.
Drew Barrymore, though. The woman from Gimme, Gimme, Gimme. Leslie Joseph. She's on my list.
Wait, Leslie Joseph would have been so fucking surreal in this film. Like, in what context is Leslie Joseph popping up in this film? Tell us a scenario. Like a waitress at the Brazilian restaurant, maybe?
No, I'm talking as the main cast members. That's what I was thinking.
They're all kind of like different ages, and like Whoopi wouldn't be friends with any of those people. It's kind of like a bit wild.
I think she's just trying to say if they're all happen to be at the same age, could they be in this? And that's
fuck knows what she's saying, Kobe.
When they're at their peak, maybe.
2 more people on my list.
Sorry.
Sandra Bullock, Renee Zellweger.
I don't think they did. None of those. I don't think a lot of those would not have done that. They wouldn't have done the shitting and puking thing. They would have been like, it's probably a little bit gross out.
I think Jennifer Aniston
Cameron Diaz would have shot in the street.
She would. She did put cum in her hair, yeah.
She would have shot in the street.
And that scene in the council, no spoilers. Like, if you're going to do that, you're going to do everything.
I mean, I like what you're trying to do there, but I feel Jennifer Aniston isn't really...
She's not edgy.
One of those people.
You see, I love the...
I don't think she's been used enough. I don't think she's been used to her full potential. I'm not
talking Jennifer Aniston and Friends.
No.
I'm not talking in Friends.
Along Came Polly, Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah. I just like her.
So I'm thinking like Tracy Ullman as a funny... Now, she's hilarious. Frenton Saunders, Tina Fey. You missed out Tina Fey.
Amy Poehler.
Yes.
Tina Fey.
Amy Poehler.
Yeah, I mean, I did reference Tina Fey. She's up there.
I'm thinking that I feel there's a better list than that.
Tina Fey could maybe have been Annie.
I thought you would have liked my list. I thought you you guys would have been impressed by my homework.
We're impressed that you made a list. We just don't agree with anything on it.
Okay, well, fuck you then.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus is like genuinely one of the funniest people ever. And look out for a film called You Hurt My Feelings, because she's diamond in it. But in Veep,
she's so
amazing.
good. She's so good in Veep.
Okay, I will watch it.
I think 100%. I think I like the idea, but I just feel there's better people to be on that list than Jennifer Aniston.
I'll revise my list. I'm going to do some homework for you, Kobe. I'm going to do the homework for you.
Check out Julia Louis-Dreyfus Veep clips, and she's just French kiss.
Tonight on it.
Should we head to the scores?
I think so.
I'm Sam Clements, host of the 90 Minutes or Less Film Festival, another podcast in the Stripped Media family, a podcast that celebrates movies under 90 minutes long. Each episode, I'm joined by a special guest who selects a movie to join our prestigious lineup. Past guests have included fellow Stripped Media family members Martin and Sam from Song by Song, and Kobe from Flixwatcher, and Dave from The Wire Stripped. Search for us now on the app you're currently listening to this podcast, or join us at 90minfilmfest.com.
Welcome to our Flixwatcher scores. They are always out of 5. You can have decimal places if you wish, and we'll start with you, please, Dee, with your recommendability.
I've gone for 4. I've taken 1 point off, because the name makes it sound like it's more of a chick flick than it actually is. It makes it difficult to recommend to some people, because they will just assume, oh, that's a girl's film, that's a girly film about love and romance and weddings and blah, blah, blah. Which it really isn't. People shit themselves on it.
Randa.
I'm going to revise my score because I'm afraid of hate mail, and I'm clearly wrong, and I'm not too proud to admit that I'm wrong.
Stand up for your right. It's a party.
You have to go with your heart.
My heart is saying one thing, and my conscience is telling me another.
We don't know where you live, but your sister does.
So, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be objective. I'm going to take myself out of it, and I'm going to think about, what you guys said. You thought it was funny. Other people clearly find it funny. I am wrong. And I realize now that people will enjoy this film. So I'm going to give it a 3, because for some people will love it. So that's my objective, balanced opinion.
Helen.
I'm going to give it a 4. I think it is kind of one of the better comedies that have kind of come out of this sort of time. If it was like an hour and a half, I think it would be probably a bit higher, because it gets to about like 1 hour, 17 minutes. And it's a bit like, okay, we get Annie's a bit of a douche. She's down on her luck. She's like shitting on her friends. And then there's like that scene with the necklace, and it's just like, this could go and the film would be the same. And you kind of loses their energy after, I think, on the Vegas plane trip, because I always forget that they don't actually make it to Vegas. I'm like, oh yeah, they're going to go to Vegas, it's going to be wild. And it's like, hey, they don't actually make it. What was I thinking of? So I think after that point, it kind of sags a little bit, which is a shame, but I think it's just about aged okay as well. And yeah, I mean, you just don't really get that many comedies that are all female led. So I think if you haven't seen it, then definitely you should check it out. And if you haven't seen it for a while, then watch it again, because it's funny if you like.
Tiffany Haddish.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to have one then.
There you go.
And Judy Greer's on the list for funny women.
I don't think it was funny though, but who played the mum in Arrested Development?
Stifler's mom is who I missed off my list. Sorry,
Yeah, Jennifer Coolidge.
Yeah.
Jennifer Coolidge.
On my list.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Funny woman.
Yeah, she's better than anyone else on that list that you've collected there.
She's good. She deserves a place. Jennifer Coolidge, yeah.
But can I just ask, when did films become 2 hours long as standard? I miss the 90-minute long fucking just...
Paul Feig and Apatow.
Yeah. That's when comedies became 2 hours. It's like, a comedy only needs to be 90 minutes, guys.
No. We just want a quick laugh. Done. Yep.
Oh, she's the main actor in Schitt's Creek. Catherine O'Hara.
The mother from Home Alone. Yes, she almost made it to my list. Yes, she was amazing.
Randa, can you go away and rethink this list? I want a revised list, please.
Yes, Kobe, I will do that for you.
Jennifer Aniston shouldn't be on there. I'm going to give it 4.5. I would like to give it 5 because I think I want to recommend it to as many people as possible and to say, to carry on from what Dee was saying, people of all genders would look at it and say, Bridesmaids, this is going to be a certain type of film, and it's not that film. But also, I'm taking marks away because I think it could be tighter.
It could have Jennifer Coolidge in it.
It doesn't have Jennifer Coolidge in it or Julia Louis-Dreyfus. But I'm happy with all the cast, really. So 4.5. Repeat viewing score. Dee.
I've gone for 3 because I saw it again probably when it first came out on Netflix and watched it again recently. And that was good because, again, I'd forgotten what had happened. I will probably watch it again in a few years' time, like I said, when I have a hangover on a Sunday and I just need something really, really not too taxing on the brain. So I've gone for 3.
Randa.
So I wouldn't go to this as a go-to to watch again, and I do love a funny film. The kind of films I rewatch are like Ferris Bueller, stuff like that. I don't often rewatch, but like the good old funny films, or Home Alone is what I would rewatch. So I wouldn't personally, but I could see why people would. So I'm going to say 3. I'm going to be diplomatic. I'm going to say 3.
You will never watch this film again, Rhonda. What the fuck are you talking about?
But others might, so 3.
Others might. My score. Others might. Helen.
Yeah, I'm also going to give it a 3. I've enjoyed the times that I've rewatched it, but yeah, I think the length and the slightly sagginess would put me off from rewatching it again. And there's other films, but yeah, I enjoyed rewatching it. It'd been a good time since I last saw it, but yeah, probably not going to watch it much more.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 3. I think just typical of Paul Feig films. Yeah, it's probably the best of them, but also I think there's better things to do quite often with that time. And I think I've seen enough now to satiate me. Lake Bell, another funny lady to check out.
Oh.
I'm going to keep on popping these into my head. Small screen score, Diana.
I've gone for a 4 because my TV is pretty big. Not to show off. So it was fine on my TV, but I took a point off because I would have liked to see the shitting themselves scene on the big screen. Just that moment where Lillian, where she squats in the middle of the road, is just...
Yeah. It's happening. It's happening.
It happened. Oh, she's shitting in the middle of the road. Yeah, that, I don't know why, because it's not like big special effects, but I just would have liked to see it bigger.
Jenny Slate, also from Parks and Rec.
Oh.
She's one of my favourites. Mona Lisa.
Aubrey Plaza.
Small screen score, Randa.
I watched this on an iPad. I thought that didn't affect my experience. So I'm going to give it a 5. It translated well.
Helen.
Yeah, so I think in terms of the kind of translation from big to small is kind of fine, but I saw it at the cinema, and yeah, there is something about the collective audience watching someone have diarrhea in the middle of the street wearing an obviously very, very expensive wedding dress, and just everyone just going, no, and yeah, so comedy is one that's good to have the shared experience, and maybe not necessarily the cinema, but like if you're watching it at home, bring friends round. Don't watch it on your own. Watch it with someone else. You can laugh and cry and cringe together. So I'm going to give it 5. Yeah, you don't have... The cinema thing is fun, but it's more having people to watch it with.
Yeah, I'm going to give it 5 as well. I think, like I said, I saw it in the cinema, but I had equal amounts of fun at home watching it by myself. Awkwafina.
Yes.
Oh, I need to check her out. Oh, she was in that Disney film Raya. I know her from that.
Yeah, Raya and the Last Dragon. Engagement score. Sorry. Dee.
I gave it a 3, not because I wasn't enjoying it, and I would have been annoyed to sort of finish it early, but because I texted quite a bit during it, because it's very lighthearted, but it also means that you can do other stuff at the same time. I've gone for 3.
Yeah, Randa.
Should I tell the truth?
Sure.
Okay, so when I was watching this, I did fall asleep at the end 3 times, and twice, and I had to rewatch the end 3 times. But I didn't fall asleep from being tired. I took too much codeine from having a migraine that made me drowsy. That's why I fell asleep. That's an important fact. It wasn't a reflection of the film. But I did, I watched the ending, rewatched it, and it wasn't quite as big as I wanted the ending to be. So, and obviously I did struggle. I struggled with the film, but I struggled with a lot of films. So Paul Feig, I'm really sorry if you're listening. I'm very sorry for my behavior. There's nothing wrong with this film whatsoever. Clearly, a lot of people enjoy it. The problem is me. I'm going to redeem myself, and I'm going to give it a 4. Even though I struggled. Yeah,
No,
I
but
struggled.
I just
I
want
have no
to
idea what's going on with the scoring system.
Oh,
No,
am I
but the
not
thing
answering
is,
this right?
she went back 3 times.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
the key.
That's fine.
That's the key.
Okay. So did I answer it right?
I mean,
knows.
it's your score completely.
Fuck knows what's going on in your head at the moment.
I'm going to say 4. I want to, I want to redeem myself. Clearly my answers are wrong on this film. So I'm going to give it a good 4.
Ali Wong, Sarah Silverman, carry on.
Oh, Sarah Silverman. I only know her from School of Rock. I wanted to like her.
She's not good in School of Rock. That's not Sarah Silverman.
What is
in
prime
Full Effect.
Sarah Silverman?
Her stand-up.
Okay.
I love Hannah Gadsby. She's great.
Hannah Gadsby's fantastic.
Fucking love her.
What are your thoughts on Meg Ryan? I feel she's a bit Jennifer Aniston-y, where she's good in good material, but not really like a funny...
Is she comedy? I didn't know that she was. I remember her from Sleepless in Seattle, not much else.
The funniest film she's in? French Kiss. Not a great film. Best Meg Ryan. Bub.
Okay.
Bub.
I mean, I like her in The Cut, which isn't a comedy, but she's good in that. Tiffany Haddish, have we said her yet?
Yes, we did. We celebrated her very much.
Engagement score, Helen.
I'm going to give it a 3.5. Yeah, I think it's the bit after Vegas, kind of like, come on, where's it going? And it's just kind of Annie being a bit miserable. And the jokes kind of like thin out a little bit. But up to that point, it's like super engagement, loads of jokes. So yeah, 3.5.
Mindy Kaling.
Yes.
Yes.
You see, Kobe? The
What?
casting is the issue.
It's not the issue. I'm just saying, of a list of funny women, I don't think you've got to the core of it.
There are more than 5 funny women. Shock horror.
Exactly,
Oh,
yeah.
do you know what? Female comedians are my favorite things, like my favorite actors, my favorite type of comedy. I just there's just so many good ones, and those are the ones that I wanted this film to be.
But these have got good ones though. Maya Rudolph.
They aren't great. They weren't allowed to let rip, and I think that's what it was. They needed to be allowed to just.
Maya Rudolph is, as I said, underrated as an actress, but this was not her funniest role.
Let him go off script and then let them really be funny. Do you know what I mean?
We've mentioned a couple of times the Terry Crews scene. I laughed at that bit because if you remember, he's like one of those personal trainers in the park that takes the classes in the park, and they're basically stealing one of his lessons. They're behind a tree, copying everything. And I just thought that was fucking hilarious. That is so funny.
My engagement score, 3.5. No, maybe even lower, 3. I think it's just a bit... It's fun. It's a fun film. Happy to have it on in the background when stuff's happening, and I think you can dive in and out. So I'm going to give it a 3, and that gives us an overall score of 3.75000 exactly.
Yeah, that's good. What's so done?
Randomly, Randa, you scored higher than your sister. So
Oh!
Diana's overall score was 3.5. Randa's overall score was 3.75. So
Funny. What's the best comedy you've had?
When Harry Met Sally is the highest scoring film joint.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a good film.
Interesting. Okay.
It's a good film.
I'm trying to reevaluate Goldie Hawn because she's been in a lot of really good, funny films.
Yeah. She's good. Death Becomes Her.
Yeah.
Death Becomes Her.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've done that. We like that.
Yeah, we've done that.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, let's head over to Twitter. For those of you who aren't following us on Twitter, we are at Flixwatcher Pod. Do follow us there because we talk about stuff on Netflix in general. But also, before we record, we like to put a shout out, asking for your opinion, saying something like this. We're reviewing Bridesmaids with Diana and Randa from SSSC podcast. Have you seen it? Tell us your thoughts and your score out of 5 stars for an on-air shout out, which will be now. Dee, do you want to take the first one?
Yes, we've got Lee Thomas at Lee Thomas 5. Some of my favorite funny people involved in this, right down to the cameos. Star-making turns from Wiig and McCarthy. I've rewatched one scene in particular multiple times. I'm not confident which end that came out of. I think we know what scene that is.
That's Melissa McCarthy. Yeah, Melissa McCarthy.
Oh, 5 stars. 5 stars. Sorry, Lee gives it 5 stars.
And Randa?
Okay, so John Loftus at Lofty Sins said he thought it was a little overrated when I got to see it. 3 stars.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Dee, Randa, thank you very much for joining us. Can you tell us everyone where we can find you online, and we'll say goodbye to the listeners.
Well, we've got a website, switchbladesisters.socialclub.com, which will send you off to all the different podcast places and social media and so forth. We're on Instagram, we're on Spotify, we're on Apple Podcasts, we're wherever you catch your podcasts.
Wherever you're listening to this is where you are. So you don't need to change your podcast habits. Just go to the same app and find it, right?
Yeah. Switchblade Sisters Social Club. More of us. What more could you want?
Perfect. Guys, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll say goodbye to everyone who's listening.
Thanks
so much for coming on.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Enjoyed this episode of Flixwatcher podcast? Why not leave us a 5-star review on iTunes? You can also follow us at FlixWatcherPod on Twitter, and we're at FlixWatcher on Instagram. Thanks as always to the mighty people for their mighty, mighty tunes and Rockwood Audio's editing skills. If you're looking to get your podcast edited as sweet as this, get in touch with Rockwood, ROKK Wood Audio. Tell them Flixwatcher sent you.
You just heard a Stripped Media production.